Price of negligence, promises, and pain. On the story of Ndode's journey from love to loss. Ndudi was born in a small town in eastern Nigeria. He grew up in a simple, loving family where everyone worked hard but never had much. Life in the village was quiet and slow, filled with warm friendships and a strong sense of community. But for Ndudi, it felt too small. He dreamed of a life beyond the village, imagining tall buildings, important meetings, and streets full of lights. Whenever he spoke about this to his family, they didn't fully understand. But one person listened, Ifeoma. Ifeoma had been Ndudi's friend since childhood. She was gentle and kind, with a soft smile that seemed to light up her face. She understood his dreams, even though her own were much simpler. Ifeoma dreamed of a life filled with love, family, and peace. But even though their dreams were different, Ifeoma always encouraged Ndudi. She would say, if you believe in it, you will make it happen. Sooner, Ndudi decided to leave the village to chase his dreams in the city. He said goodbye to his family and Ifeoma, promising to come back and build a better life for all of them. He didn't have much money or a plan, only a heart full of hope and determination. As he left, he felt the weight of his dreams on his shoulders, but he had also felt excitement for the future. Now in the city, it was nothing like Ndode's village. It was busy, noisy, and crowded with people who seemed to be rushing somewhere important. Tall buildings towered over him, and the light shone even at night. For the first time, he saw people in suits and fancy cars, and it filled him with awe. This was the life he had dreamed of. But it felt far away, like he didn't quite belong. At first, he struggled. Ndudi worked up jobs, earning little and working long hours. But he kept going, telling himself that one day he would be like those men in suits. He pushed himself harder and harder, determined to succeed. Finally, after months of hard work, he got a job at a big company. It was a small position, but to Ndudi, it was everything. He threw himself into his work, working late into the night and always striving for more. As he rose in the company, he started to change. His dreams grew bigger and he began to make new friends. People who, like him, wanted power and money. They encouraged him to keep climbing, to reach for even greater success. Ndudi became so focused on his work that he began to forget the simple joys he once loved. Even Ifeoma's letters, which had once meant so much, became just words on paper. He would reply sometimes, but always quickly, his mind already back on his business. After several years, Ndudi returned to his village. His family welcomed him with open arms, proud of all he had achieved. Ifeoma was overjoyed to see him, and it didn't take long for them to talk of marriage. Ifeoma had waited for Ndudi, holding on to the promise of a life they would build together. To her, he was the same boy she had loved since they were young. The wedding was simple but filled with joy. Friends and family gathered to celebrate, and Ifeoma felt her dreams coming true. She believed they would be together from now on, creating a home filled with love and laughter. But soon after the wedding, Ndudi told her, I must go back to the city. I need to keep working so we can have a better life. You should stay here for now. It's safer, and I can focus more on building our future. Ifeoma was sad, but she trusted him. She believed in his promise that one day they would live together in comfort. She watched him live, holding on to his words and hope. Days turned into months, and months into years. Ndudi buried himself in work. He moved from one business venture to another, always chasing something bigger, something better. Each new success made him hunger for more, and he rarely took time to think about what he was leaving behind. From time to time, he would call Ifeoma, sharing news about his latest business deal or Onyii property. She would listen quietly, her heart aching for his presence. But each time she asked him to come home, he would say, "Not yet. I am building something great for us. Soon we will have everything we want." Back in the village, Ifeoma waited, her love for Ndudi both a comfort and a pain. She missed him deeply, writing letters and praying for his safety. But with each passing year, her hope began to waver. She dreamed of building a family together, of having children and watching them grow. But for now, all she had were memories and promises that felt farther and farther away. Just soon, Ifeoma discovered she was pregnant. She was filled with joy and immediately wrote to Ndudi, imagining a life where he would be beside her as they raised their child together. She shared her dreams of family and love, hoping this news would bring him home. But Ndudi's response was quick and distant. "This is a wonderful news, Ify, my love, but I need more time to make sure we will never struggle. Wealth first, happiness later." Ndudi never agreed he has made enough. As her pregnancy went on, Ifeoma grew weaker. She had hoped for his support, for his arms around her and his voice beside her, but she faced her pregnancy alone. Finally, their son was born. Ifeoma looked at him with both joy and sadness, feeling the weight of being a mother without her husband by her side. It felt like she was single mother. She sent Ndodi pictures and letters, hoping he would finally come to see their child. But he was always too busy, always saying, "Just a little more time." The years continued, and Ifeoma's health started to fail. She was exhausted from the loneliness, worn down by the weight of waiting. Friends and family urged her to leave Ndodi, but she couldn't. She couldn't. She couldn't bring herself to do it. She still loved him, hoping against hope that he would return. Writing a final letter, she poured her heart out to him, telling him how much she had missed him, how much their son needed his father. She begged him to come home, even if just for a short visit. But Ndude's reply was the same as always. "Soon, just wait a little longer, Ife." Now years passed, with no special moment with his husband and their son. Failing health, her spirit, however, could no longer hold on. On a certain evening, Ifeoma slumped. She was rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. Her heart, weakened by years of loneliness and longing, gave in. Ifeoma passed away, never getting the chance to see her husband one last time. News of Ifeoma's death reached Ndodi while he was in a meeting overseas. The words hit him like a storm, leaving him numb and empty. For the first time, he felt his world crumble. He dropped everything and rushed back home. But by the time he arrived, Ifeoma was already buried. All he found was an empty house and a son he hardly knew. The little boy looked at him with wide eyes, confused by the presence of this stranger who claimed to be his father. As he looked into his son's eyes, Ndudi felt the weight of his choices. He had chased money and power, but at what cost? His success meant nothing now, and all he had was a hollow empire and an empty heart. Ndudi sank into depression. His once grand empire, his properties and wealth felt meaningless. He lost interest in his work, barely able to function. His health began to fail, his body mirroring the emptiness inside. The guilt and grief weighed on him. A few months after Ifeoma's death, Ndudi passed away, leaving his young son. With both parents gone, Ndudi's son was sent to live with distant relatives. He was a quiet, fragile boy, carrying a sadness he didn't understand. His little body grew weaker, and without the love of his parents, he fell ill. He passed away not long after his father, never having known the warmth of a full family. The village mourned the tragic end of Ndudi's family. People whispered about how he had lost everything that truly mattered in his pursuit of wealth. His mansion stood empty, his businesses untended, and the empire he had built was left for no one. In the end, the village remembered Ndude's story as a lesson. They spoke of him with sadness, saying, "Money is good, but love and family are the greatest treasures." Ndude's dream of wealth had cost him everything, leaving behind a story that echoed with the pain of wealth, pursuit at the expense of love and family bond. And this brings us to the sad end of Ndude's lineage and the price of negligence. Was this interesting? Please let us know what you picked from this story below the comment section. Also, like, share, and subscribe to the channel as we bring you more interesting stories. Would you like us to tell a story on a particular topic? Let us know below the comment section. Thank you.